Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Microsoft Spotlight Podcast. Today's episode 68, and as I just said to Andrew, we're getting closer to that 100 mark, probably sometime next year, I'm guessing, or the year, next year sometime.
I personally think probably this year, the amount of guests we've got on.
I know, you've done one last week, you're editing one currently, I think we've got 3 on the go, which have not been released yet, and yeah, it's going well. But Andrew, how you doing?
I'm good. And I say I'm not doing the introduction today because I'm terrible at names. And to be fair, I would have been close on this one.
You would have been close. Well, today's guest is Jeevantika Lingalwar, and she is over in Dublin working for Microsoft. Before today's podcast, and Andrew, whilst we was waiting for everything to come together, we've actually both in Dublin in July, weren't we? But must have missed each other, or you was working from home. But Jeevantika, if you'd like to introduce yourself, tell us what you're doing at Microsoft, and we will go from there.
Great. Hi, nice to meet you all, and thanks again, by the way. Good pronunciation of the name. That was perfect.
See, that's probably sorted my wounds, that is. That is just probably sorted my wounds.
No complaints there. Well, I would really love to hear it from you, Andrew, to be very honest. I want to see how you pronounce my name.
You probably called you Barbara or something like that.
Yeah. I'll start abbreviating people's names. Just call you Jay.
Oh yeah, that's fine. A lot of people call me Jay, actually, if they can't pronounce my name, or Z, to keep it short. But again, thanks for having me here. It's such a pleasure. I've seen a couple of your episodes as well. So my name is Jeevantika, and I am a cloud solution architect in Microsoft. Recently, the title has been changed to a partner solution architect, which is basically the role is same, but the job is also same. The job description is same, just the name has changed. So my day-to-day role includes as a technical advocate for all our partners in Ireland. So I basically work with partners in Ireland, and I work with cross-solution technologies like data and AI, biz apps, IoT, sustainability. So having a chit chat with our partners, working around their architecture, the solution building, skilling, and make sure that they have the right skills to achieve those solutions. And just basically acting a strong technical advocate for all the partners. So I deal with the CIOs, CTOs, and technical lead on day-to-day basis. So that's pretty much my technical background in Microsoft.
Awesome. We had someone in a similar team to you on the podcast 2-3 weeks ago.
My podcast?
No, our one. Similar. Worked in IoT and security for IoT. Who was it, Andrew? Was it No, it wasn't Linda. Mohana
Go on, John.
Luona?
Mohana, yeah.
Mohana, no, I don't know Mohana.
She works. I think it was her. Works in a similar type of role as yourself. But I work quite closely with a few cloud solutions architects. Jose, really good friend of mine over in the UK, being one of them in that security space. I think that's a really kind of really interesting job that you have there. Because am I right? Your role is to be able to enable partners to drive propositions, drive business, and that side of things.
Yeah, and it does include a lot of technical, background as well, from the partner side and from us as well. It's pretty interesting because you get to learn new technology every day. Technology is it's advancing so much each and every second. So we have to keep ourselves up to date with the current technology as well, like new current AI, co-pilots and all that stuff. So that has become a lot interesting, with the new inventions as well for the partners and for us. And we are like so flexible in the role that we get to shape our role as we want or as the partners' requirements are. So we are not bounded or limited to one of the other areas, but we can be very flexible into multiple spaces. So that's very interesting about the role.
And your office is, when you do go into the office, as we kind of mentioned before the podcast, is just unbelievable. Like Microsoft Dublin, is the best office I've hands down ever been to in my whole entire life. It's ridiculous.
Let's pin that conversation. Let's pin it.
What an office. Like downstairs it's all Minecraft themed. So you go in, there's there's like a waterfall which is all kind of
Digital
like
waterfall.
Minecraft
Yeah.
related. What's it called?
Digital waterfall.
Digital, yeah, man. It's just, and there's blocks everywhere. There's when you come into the place, there's like a learning center to the left, right? And it's all based on Minecraft for education.
So that
And
place is called Dream Space. It's for
yes,
school kids, and they
yeah.
teach a lot of technical stuff to the school students. So that's dedicated. And the Minecraft is one of the big thing that we do in the Dream Space.
Yeah, that's amazing. Like, I think my son would absolutely love that. I think we spoke about Minecraft a few times in the podcast and how my son is just addicted to it. And
Yeah.
he would absolutely love that there. I got woken up at 7 o'clock this morning with him showing me his new Minecraft world, a new building that he's done, which is really nice. Yeah.
And don't forget about the food as well. Maybe you want to mention that.
And the food, yeah, the food options there. Andrew, the food options there are ridiculous. You go to the left, there's like a coffee shop, best coffee I've ever had in my whole entire life, right there. In terms of like the mocha, I had a mocha. It's like just hands down, just ridiculously good. And then they got different food courts around the whole place as well. So they got an Italian one. So you'd like, and it's cheap. It's cheap as like so cheap as well. Like had a whole
Yeah,
pizza
it's
for like
really good.
£4. Like it's and then they got like an American section, a Chinese section. Like it's just all the different options, just ridiculous. I think it's a really good incentive to actually come into work as well. As you said,
Yeah.
I think it's the only reason you come into the office is when you're
Yeah.
So it
hungry.
definitely sounds better than TVP, but I say in Seattle as well, it's very much similar. They've got a whole like, massive food court and it's all the different sections. It's like, yeah, you don't get that anywhere else really.
No,
Well, the
TVP is a bit like a
Seattle-
university campus, isn't it? Like you go there and that's about it. You get a free caffeinated water in a fridge and that's about it.
Well, I think the Seattle office it's not just an office, it's a whole city in itself, you know.
Yeah.
So it's much bigger the Redmond office. So yeah, it's amazing. I mean, I love
I've
the
never
main
never
office.
been to somewhere where I can literally go to work, have my breakfast, lunch, and dinner, also get my teeth checked, also have my hot eyes checked, go and play a bit of football, American football on the pitches there as well. It's just, yeah, it's just Seattle, the Redmond campus is just amazing. I'd love to have that kind of, office in the UK that I could go to because I'd be able to live there.
Yeah, I think I'm hoping to go next year. That'd be really nice. Hoping to go next year. But we'll see, eh? MVP Summit, hopefully we'll be there. And hopefully I can get there. But we'll see. Femke, a friend of mine who's been on the podcast previously, she's been 4 times this year to
Oh
Redmond.
wow.
Yeah, 4 times.
Well, I joined during COVID time. So before joining Microsoft, I was working for one of the logistics as a CTO, Chief Technology Officer,
Yeah.
and Microsoft were our potential partner at that time. So I got an opportunity to go to Redmond for executive briefing in Microsoft office. But the funny thing is, since joining Microsoft, I've never been to Seattle office. Although as a tech somebody working in the tech in Microsoft, we are the first initial few months for the training and induction. We are supposed to go to Seattle for all the training, but because of COVID, everything had to come down. And I literally joined during the peak times of COVID. So my onboarding, all the induction that happened at my home, like remotely, and I went office after 8 months for the first time. So
Oh well.
yeah.
Nice. So let's talk a bit about your journey. Can you tell us like kind of what you kind of wanted to do at school and kind of how that journey to IT happened?
So it was by accident, journey to IT.
I've heard that quite a few times.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to be a singer when I was very young. So my dad was into the film industry before I was born, and he was there for like 8 years. So my dad is really good in all these kind of activities, acting. If you ask him to mimic somebody, he's gonna do that. And he's the most funniest man I've ever met, to be very honest. And he loves singing, he loves dancing, he plays flute as well, so he's multi-talented there. So when I was born and I was around 7-8 years, and I looked at my dad, he used to sing, and I started singing behind him as well. So no formal training, nothing, just a random you could call me as a bathroom singer. I still call myself as a bathroom singer because I sing when I'm in the bathroom and I sing when I'm driving. So that's something I do on day-to-day basis. And then I was telling my dad, you know what, I want to be a singer. Why don't you ask your film industry friends and get me into singing? My dad is like, no need to do that, just do engineering. That's it. I was like, no, but I want to be a singer. I'm such a good singer. I was like, no, that industry is not for us. You have to go into some good field, engineering field. I've been in that industry. I've seen the struggle. It's too much. And I don't want you to go through all that hassle. Why not choose something which is, which everybody is doing it and which will make you grow in your career? And then I wanted to become an astronaut. So I was like, okay, let's leave the singer part. I want to become an astronaut. I want to be a scientist. I want to do something like that. I was always fascinated with stars. So I still do stargazing at some point. If the clouds are clear, of course, I'm in Ireland, so that's a little bit
That doesn't
harder.
happen much, eh?
Yeah, doesn't happen much. But whenever I get an opportunity, I would do that. And then I don't know. So in the schools, I was always an average student. I was not a scholar or anything, but I was very active in the extracurricular stuffs as well. So being a team lead, leading a gaming activity, the student community, and all that. So that was kind of my, the whole and soul journey. So I participated in all the activities that happened in school. I was an athlete. So you could find around 200 certificates. Still, I have around running and relays and hurdles and long jump and whatnot other. And I'm also a champion of skating. I used to be a champion of skating, roller skates. So I did that as well. Slowly grew up, then college, and then finally it was a time when all my friends were like, we are going into engineering. And then I realized, so all my cousins were also into the engineering field. And then I just remembered what my dad said. No, you have to be an engineer. So I was like, okay, my dad said I want to be an engineer. All my friends are going into engineering. Maybe I should also give that a try because I don't want to be alone, roaming around here and there. And that was the reason for my friends. I just went into the engineering field, and that too took computer science as a major. So 4 years into engineering, did my computer science, and then I also worked as an intern in one of the companies there as part of my internship program. Worked there for 6 months, got some experience, and through campus recruitment. So we got first time it was the scene that there were campus recruiters coming in the premises. So that was the first interview that I sat in, and that was the first time I got a job through campus recruitment. And all my scholar friends, they didn't. So that was a big achievement for me, although I was a little bit sad, but I was happy that I got a job. As I said, I was not a scholar. And then that was the time I moved immediately after so I finished my bachelor's in 2016. And I moved immediately in 2016, just within 2 months after my graduation, to a different state, which was far away from where I lived. So first time away from home, first time far from family. And I'm like very close to my family, so I've never had that habit to be away from them. I was so habitual to my mom giving me everything. And that was the first time I moved for the job. Worked there as an Android application developer, started coding, did that job for 1.5 years or something. And that's when I realized that this is not for me. Like, I am not meant to sit 13 hours and code straight. So I just felt like I wanted to do more. I had more potential than, just sitting and code, because that's not something what I loved, although that's a brilliant job for software developers, but I just felt that I had something more to do. And that's when I started looking what can I do, and went for further education, came down to Ireland to do my master's in cloud computing. So that's a little bit story around how I came into the IT field and just continued in that journey.
Yeah, that's really cool. But one thing, kind of looking into your career at Dublin, how did you get from a cloud hosting engineer to CTO in 7 months? That's incredible.
Yeah, that's a little bit journey there. So what happened is I joined that company as a cloud engineer.
Yeah.
And my role typically was, so that company, it's a logistics, right? And there, we were the first batch of IT people. So they hired a CIO, and CIO went down to hire a couple of more IT people for the digital transformation phase that we were going through. And that's when I was hired as well as a cloud engineer. So that time I was just developing Power Applications for in-house projects. We didn't had any vendors and all, and it was kind of a little bit boring. And as I said, I was like very active and I wanted to do something more than what is required.
Yeah.
So I just started to work on my own skills. I started to build network outside. I started to bring third party vendors which were more efficient to build at that point. Then the CIO played a huge role into where I am today as well, because he supported me, he mentored me throughout, like saw that what I could do and what is supposed to be done. And he started to give me opportunity. I started to build on that opportunity pretty quick. So I saw that there is an opportunity, and how can I grab it and make useful out of the situation. And also at the same time wanted to make sure that my skills are growing, and so the business is growing because of my skills. So I managed to do that. We were going to Microsoft every Thursday for a strategy day, and I was the lead for that strategy workshop. Then there was a requirement that in Seattle the executive briefing is happening, and only the C level were invited. And at that point, my promotion was due as well. So the whole team thought that who would be the best person to be a CTO, because they were looking for a CTO. Why not get somebody from internal team? And because I've done so many work with the third party vendors, I know how to deal with customers. I know how to deal with partners, lead a team. So they thought that, well, Jeevantika would be a good candidate, and they reached out to me. I'm not gonna lie, I was very nervous because I was really young. I'm still young, by the way. I don't want to say I'm still young, but at that point, like I was very young. I was 25 years old, and I was not ready to lead such a big team of so many experienced male. Uh, it was highly, like there were 20 people. They were working in that organization for more than 20 years. And then I came in and I became a CTO, and I was like very nervous to accept that thing, that, what, how will I be able to lead so much? First thing, I'm a woman. Second thing, I'm so young. Third, I have so many male employees, male team members working with me. And that's when my CIO and the mentors, they were like, unless and until you try something, you would never even feel how that was. So in order to taste the success, you have to actually accept it first. So that's when I was like, okay, let me try this. And that's when I jumped into that CTO role, managed it super well, went to a lot of CIO, CTO roundtables, which gave me a lot of exposure. And my confidence built up eventually doing all those roundtables, leading a team, managing, although there were a lot of challenges that I faced, biased, being a woman, being the young and blah, 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 but managed to grow out of it as well. There's a particular incident that stand out a lot when I was CTO. So as I said, that I've gone to a lot of CIO, CTO roundtable. There was one particular CTO table where I was sitting, and everybody were male in the group, and they were very experienced. So there was some topic going on, and I had something to say. Although I know that they are much more experienced, they had more things to say, but I wanted to contribute. And I found that my voice was suppressed a bit, like I am not able to speak. People are not letting me speak. The moment I was like, the thing is, somebody else cut me off, and they started to talk. And I got a little bit frustrated, to be very honest. It brought a lot of frustration out of me, which I couldn't actually put on the table. So instead, what I did is there was a glass of water in front of me. And I was like sitting and sitting, and my patience was losing. I was like, what should I do? I want to talk. The time is running over. And I literally spilled that water on the table on purpose. Okay. So I literally spilled the glass of water. And all of a sudden, everybody was looking at me. So I literally took the napkin, started wiping off the water as if nothing happened. And all of a sudden, when people stopped talking, I was like, so my point here is, and I started to keep my words in. And that's how I was able to say everything that I wanted to say. And I just said it in one flow. um,
So I love that. That's probably one of the best ways of getting people to look at you in a room and start, deliberately, yeah, just a bit of water on the table, everyone then looking at you, yeah,
yeah.
that's fair play.
And that's how I realized, like, there would be a lot of times where people won't give you an opportunity. You have to create your own opportunity sometimes by becoming a center of attraction, or by letting people know, being the limelight of the show. So that there's no harm in becoming the center of attraction sometimes where you're not given that opportunity. So you have to grab that, open your own window, open your own, create your own door, get your own opportunity, and let the things flow. Otherwise, you would just be sitting there doing nothing. The time will run over, and that's it. Game over.
But while you was obviously CTO, you also set up the International Women in Tech. Is that because of that meeting or something else?
No, so the International Women in Tech, I started where before all of this happened. So International Women in Tech is a 4-year journey of mine. Yeah. So I came in Ireland in 2018 to do my master's, and being an international student, somebody from a middle class family. Many of us are like that, who come to Ireland, foreign country, for education, take huge loans, background from India, for the education in the different countries, right? I was one of them, took huge loan in India to do my education. And the later on, all the responsibilities were on me because I had to study. I had to earn some money as well so that I could fill that loan back in India. I don't wanted to bother my parents because I am from a middle class family. Financially, that was a big step from our side. So while studying, I also started doing part-time jobs. I did a job in security as an event stewardess, although that was the full of fun job I ever had because I got to go to concerts like Bruno Mars, Longitude, Latitude, Taylor Swift, and all that for free. But the job was so tough because I had to stand like 20 hours a day just to get that 200 euros. And then I also worked in Asian stores, grocery stores as a cashier and all that. Then the whole journey of that education and part-time job, I did find that I am struggling to find a career mentor. Everywhere I go, people are asking money. Okay, you pay us $250 and we'll have a coffee for an hour, and whatever you want to talk about your career, we can talk about that. It's like, I can make a coffee for free at my home. Why would I pay $250 to somebody to give me a career advice, right? I mean, knowledge should be free. Although I understand it's the business, but being a student, it was hard for me. I was earning $200, 200 euros by standing 20 hours, and I just can't spend that money on something like that. And so I did face that being a woman was a challenge for me as well. I did face a little bit racism in the college, uh, outside as well, where I was trying to find some internship role or something that could, boost my career, give me a path, find a ally or something. And I literally struggled to get that. So that's when I opened International Women in Tech, because I realized it's not just me, it's many other women, many other females who have been trying to achieve their dreams are going through the same thing. So that's when I started Women in Tech Ireland. And there were like 10 people who joined me. A lot of them were not Irish. They were not in Ireland, but they wanted to be a part of group. So they reached out to me saying, your group says Women in Tech Ireland. We are not based in Ireland, but we are international. We are doing this, we are doing blah, 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 and we want to be a part of this. So for me, it was never that I wanted to make a group that is limited to something. I wanted to be limitless. And that's when I changed the name to International Women in Tech. So that's when I realized the power of naming. The moment it went from Ireland to International Women in Tech, I have now 5,000, more than 5,200 members. So the people are from all over the world. They're all over the globe. We have women joining us from each and every part of the country, talking about, and again, this was never a business. It's just for a social cause. And I slowly realized that this is where my passion is as well, to support diversity and inclusion, to bring more women forward. And slowly I brought male allies as well into the group. So I opened it to all the male allies who are supporting this, who want to be a part of diversity and inclusion, who are supporting women in tech industries as well. So now the group is a mixture of male allies, women in tech, women in different industries as well. So that was so International Women in Tech was a lot based on my personal experience. It has nothing to do with when I became a CTO or went into the industry, started working, but this was all before everything happened in my life.
It's awesome.
Okay, cool. So where can people find like your group membership?
Well, there's no membership into it. It's free to join, so you can find it on LinkedIn. It's all on LinkedIn. I have the website in progress at the moment, but everything that I do, it's all on LinkedIn. So it's an open book. So whatever I'm doing about the podcast, the International Women in Tech, you'll find everything on LinkedIn. So if you search for International Women in Tech, you'll see a logo with black image having the Women in Tech symbol, and that's my group.
Cool. Awesome.
And
Definitely
you
put
mentioned
that in the show notes.
you mentioned the podcast as well. You started the podcast in July as well.
Yeah, it
Tell us
was
about that.
recently. So I do a lot of tech talks. I do a lot of women in tech career talks and all that thing, right? I've been invited every day here and there teaching women and blah, blah, blah. I'm helping a couple of NGOs as well. And there was one session that I was giving. So this podcast idea I had from a very long time, but I was never able to do it because of time, because of commitments that I had. And I never thought that what my name would be about the podcast. But then I was giving a talk somewhere and I was talking about my story. I was telling about my journey, the transition phase, and all that. And all of a sudden I said, so this is my unplanned journey. And immediately I loved the name, the Unplanned Journey. And speaking, so I run a mentorship platform as well called Coffee Chat with Jeevantika. So I just started randomly because I was getting so many messages on LinkedIn that, hey, we are planning to do a master's in Ireland. I want to know something about that. I want to I want to get my CV redone. If you can help me with that, how can I get a job in Microsoft? So I thought maybe I can create a booking link where I can give it to people and they can just book a 20-minute call, 30-minute call with me, and I can, we can have a chat, talk about it rather than texting and all. So I created that, and you won't believe in 2 months, I had 300 calls.
Wow.
So I was taking calls on Saturdays, I was taking calls on Sundays, every single day. So on from Monday to Friday, the calls were scheduled from 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. my time. So they were supposed to schedule it that, and Saturday, Sunday, it was from morning 9 o'clock to 11 o'clock at night. So I just got so exhausted and I realized, oh my God, what am I doing? I am not getting time to myself. As I mentioned, that I'm a big gamer and I was not getting time to do anything for myself, not my passion, nothing at all. I'm just talking, and I felt exhausted. So I reduced the time and I removed Saturdays, Sundays because you need some time for yourself, right? And I just made sure that I had a couple of, good hours for myself and where I can do things that I like. Then I changed the time and all. And now I still do a lot of mentorship calls, but they are pretty less at the moment. So I see a lot of people talking about, hey, I don't think I can do this. I have those skills, but I have no confidence. I have imposter syndrome. I have this, I have that. People complaining, even though they have that potential. So that's when, when I was giving the talk, I realized maybe the Unplanned Journey could be the title of a book that I want to write someday. So I was like, okay, I might write a biography and I would name it The Unplanned Journey and blah, blah, blah. But then the book idea was like, maybe why not should I start a podcast with that name? Because I'm anyway looking for a name for my podcast. And that's when I named it The Unplanned Journey, Thriving Amidst the Unpredictable. And a couple of themes in there, just embrace the unknown and all that stuff. And it started to relate a lot. So I never had to do a lot of branding about this. One day I decided that I'll create a podcast. I created a channel on YouTube. I created the links on LinkedIn. I took subscription of the Podbean, where there are so many audio files that you can put everywhere, like Apple, Spotify, Samsung. And then I created a post, lovely post, and shared it. So Linda, who was there with you on the call?
3 episodes ago now, based on this one, I think.
Linda
Yeah.
Manan.
Yeah, I got her
Yeah.
name wrong as well. Just throwing it out
What?
there.
How do you get that one
That's
wrong?
the easiest name, Andrew.
I've got Linda right. I can do that.
Well, yeah, so I was talking to her one day and she does podcast as well. So she literally inspired me to start it immediately. And we were on the call and I just started in front of her and she was my first guest for the podcast as well. So I was like, okay, because of you, I started it like literally today. Why not you be my first guest? And that's when we started initiating. So far I've done 11 episodes. The 12th is going to happen soon. And it's pretty good. I'm handling it all alone, although the editing and all the stuff is super, super tricky. It takes my whole Saturday because I can't do it on my weekday. So my Saturday is booked for editing and posting it on all the 10 channels.
It is time consuming, isn't it, really?
Yeah, it is time consuming. Oh my God, I can't tell you. I sit sometimes at 2 o'clock in the morning doing all the editing, and it's so frustrating. But it's just I love it. I mean, the talk that I have with all the women, it's so inspiring. And every single talk relates to each other because everybody has an unplanned journey. And it's not just women. I think everybody, every single gender on this planet has an unplanned journey story to them. So I'm thinking like the season 1 would be of 20 episodes where I am interviewing all the women, and I'll start a second season where I want some male advocates, male allies as well, interviewed on their unplanned journey of diversity and inclusion, and what they are doing, how they started working into it, and all that stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much. I mean, and so far, I don't think I had to reach out to anybody in particular. People on their own started to book the interviews with me. They were like, oh, you know what, I want to get featured in your podcast because the name itself resonates so much to the life story. So it has been amazing, lovely journey for me.
Yeah, I mean, there's many people out there who obviously want to share the stories. Obviously, this is what our platform is. I mean, we obviously do put calls for like guests to come out and come forward. And like the post that I put out, was it just before August now, what it was, the amount of people I got responding to that was just unbelievable.
Yeah.
The response was just brilliant. Hence why we could probably do an episode every week at the rate we're going in the minute. But yeah, I mean, sharing people's stories is timeless, and I always say it's on this podcast. We can talk about tech all day long because that's what we all do. We do a technical role, but
Yeah.
learning how a person got from school age into their career and face challenges, that's the more important bit for me, because everyone has their own journey, everyone has their own story, and there may be something in that journey or story where you can basically look at it and go, yeah, I've experienced that, or I've face a similar situation and this is how I dealt with it in my own head, or this is how someone else dealt with it. So I love how, listening to this podcast and listening to our guests speak, just learning more about how people just handle different situations.
Yeah. No, it's amazing actually. Even when I do these podcasts, it's so amazing to hear out their story. So my aim, I always thought that, all the podcasts that happens around are surrounded with very successful leaders, top entrepreneurs. What's the story about your success? And which is good thing, like we are learning from them. But what about the common voices, like common women like us who have big ambitions but are struggling a lot to achieve that and not getting enough support? So I wanted to capture those stories. I wanted to capture the challenges. I wanted to capture the struggles that they are going through and how they are working effortlessly every day to achieve their goal. So that's the whole and soul behind Unplanned Journey. I want to bring the common voices outside, common voices to be heard by the society outside, and see, there are women like this who have been doing some amazing job in their personal life, but also has some big ambition growing inside.
Yeah, definitely. So, John, do you want to throw in your usual two-parter question?
Yeah, sure. So first part of the question, I don't know if if you've listened to the podcast before, you might know it's coming, but first part is kind of, can you just tell us a really kind of like hard part of your career and kind of what you've done to kind of overcome that and come out the other side?
So the hardest part, well, every now and then there are challenges in life, right? I mean, success without a challenge, without a struggle is not possible. Sometimes people they do get things easily, but I just feel that the struggles that I had in my life, in my personal life as well. So I recently got separated, which was the toughest time of my life, because for me, for every other girl, it's like that. It's a dream to have, a perfect life, perfect career, financially good, and everything. And so was I. I was dreaming that, oh, my career is booming. My personal life is now really good. I got married and all the stuff, and it's amazing. It's butterflies. But then slowly things started to deteriorate a little bit. Career was still good, but personal life, when things are not good in your personal life, professionally it gets ruined as well. Sometimes you're not able to manage things if you're not mentally stable at that point, right? So I had rough 2 months of my life, and I just thought that everything has ended. That's it. I want to go back to India, and I gave up. To be very honest, I just gave up. So the biggest inspiration, and you could say a backbone in my life, was always my mother. Although there were many people came in my life as a mentor, allies, and I still can't thank them enough for giving me what I am today. But my mom from the very beginning has always been the biggest backbone for me. Without her, I don't think I would have been doing anything that I am doing right now. So she's not very educated, but for some reason she has the magical powers to solve all my problems, to solve all my
Mm.
troubles. I don't know how. So whenever I have some difficulties in my personal life or my career as well, I'll go to her, take second opinion. You know what? This is what is happening. And this was the first time ever that I did not went to my mother telling her that, you know what, I am giving up, because I didn't had that audacity. I didn't had that strength in me to tell her that I am giving up, because I'm not somebody who give up that easily. And I thought, so I was not thinking about me. I was thinking about her, that how sad she will get, or she'll be like, you are not somebody who give up. And she will be more hurt than I am today if I tell her that I am actually not keeping well. So I kept that to myself. I took break from my work. Sometimes when you are doing multiple things, your mind stops working. So it's better to pause at that time. And Microsoft has this pause and think. So I took it a little bit seriously. I reached out to my manager. I told them, you know what, I need a break from work. I'm just not keeping well at the moment. And I don't think I can do the best in my career as well. And it was working with a team right now that I have in Microsoft is such a privilege. It's a blessing because they did understand what things were going on, and I took a break for a good time. I got sick, really badly sick. That was the first time ever I got so sick. I lost 10 kgs in 1 month, and I started to reflect what is happening in my life. Why am I wasting all this? Why am I ruining my health? What wrong happened? Did somebody died? No, I am still alive and I'm still living. I am doing amazing things in my career. There are so many amazing people in my life. These challenges do come, right? I mean, it's life. It's very unpredictable. You never know what's gonna come. What and I started my unplanned journey soon after everything happened, and that's again one of the inspiration, because I always thought that planned things worked out for the best. But since certain incidents that happened in my life, is like, planned things are never going to happen in your life. Of course, sometimes they would, sometimes you do need to work on things with the plan, but the unplanned journey is always the best. So I just left everything, all the thoughts, all the negativity that I had in my head about whatever things that were going in my life at the moment. I just wanted to leave them behind and move ahead. And I realized that how will I be able to do that is by starting this unplanned journey, because I needed something in my life which resonates a lot and which can actually help me divert my mind as well. So that's when I started. That was the moment I started the unplanned journey, talking about my journey first, that this was the planned stuff, but I realized that that's not going to work. So opening my mind to broader aspects of life, to the truth, to the reality that we are living in a real world, and this is not real world where you will leave everything, give up, start drinking, become a drunkard, just like we see in the movies. And I have to take care of myself, my health, for my family, because first, they are the reason in my life why I am here and because of whom I am here. So I want to do something for them. I want to do something for my mom because she supported me so much financially as well. When my dad actually gave up, my dad was like, "Don't put so much money on her. She's not gonna give us back."
Hmm.
And now he's like super proud of me, of what we are doing. We are good, and everything is fine. And that's, I think, I consider that thing as one of my biggest challenge in life at this point. Although there were a lot of things, a lot of circumstances that came throughout the career, in my education as well, but those were nothing that I couldn't solve on my own, right? Or
Hmm.
with the support of my parents or something like that. But this incident that happened was a mixture of a lot of things: a professional mixture, an emotional mixture, physical mixture, mental torture, and everything. So that's why I considered that 2 months of my life as something very horrible and challenging. But here I am, all good, and again progressing in my career.
Awesome. Yeah, sounds great. Like, yeah, personal challenges mixing into work and stuff like that. It's yeah, it's kind of the worst position to be in, because sometimes you go to work to kind of get away in some ways, but then with everything so personal life like that, just being so at the forefront of your mind, it makes everything even harder and harder to enjoy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But the second part of the question was basically, tell us like the best part of the career so far. Like, what's like been the like your career highlight?
So my career highlight is every day I get to progress in my career. The journey so far has been such an amazing journey, even after all those challenges. I've had such an amazing mentor helping me out with my career. The CTO role that I had, the first C-level executive role that I played, that was the best thing that ever happened, because that was a stepping stone for me. From there, I just started to grow. I never came down. I just started to grow in a very passionate manner, and things just started coming to me. All the opportunities started coming. My confidence level boosted 100 times much than it was before I was a CTO. And that made me that helped me with the self reflection as well, made me realize that what I want to do next, so where I see myself next. That showed me my potential as well in my career, that this is what I want to be. I want to lead a team. I want to be in the technical industry. I love technology, but I also see myself in a leadership role at some point. Running this community, doing stuffs for the community gives me so much pleasure, which also brings the whole and soul of my career, where hosting a podcast. And I've become so much fearless at the moment that I'm ready for all the challenges that will come in my life, and I'm ready to face them. And I am ready to support anybody at this point. So I'm more of a giver. And at the point, I'm like, whoever needs help, because whatever challenges I've been through, I might be able to help somebody to overcome those challenges as well in their life. So the CTO role, all the Microsoft stuffs that I've been doing, the awards that I've won as well in Microsoft. I've won a couple of leadership awards in Microsoft, and then I've got a community ambassador award outside for women in tech. Recently, I'm nominated. I'm in the finalist of a tech leader award. So this recognition actually gives me a positive boost that whatever I'm doing is right. I'm on the right track because I'm getting recognized and people are noticing it. So whatever I've been doing in the career, what I've done as a CTO, that has been the best moment, and I think it's still the best. The transition from a cloud engineer to CTO, that would still be the best at the moment, because from there on everything changed.
Awesome. And talking about awards, you can vote for the Microsoft Spotlight podcast in the UK community award thing. Link will be down below from Andrew. But if you
I'll
listen,
tell you what though, John, I had to speak to Aaron about it, because literally he put your name as the Spotlight podcast and not the actual Spotlight podcast name. So vote for John,
yeah,
and hopefully we'll get an award.
maybe I think it's probably a friend of mine that done the vote.
Yeah, I mean, vote for that. And I say, obviously, we're speaking at the Safe Coast Summit again this year. So if you're coming along, so please come and support our session. It's going to be talking about let's make a change happen. So talk about how we can make a change within a business, talking about what we can do to basically build like a women in tech community within an organization. Obviously, I'm going to take on my personal experiences, what I'm doing for Jitsu, and bring it into it as well as obviously pulling other people that are doing exactly the same.
Awesome. So we've come towards the end of our podcast now, but it's been a really easy episode to host, to be fair. You've been absolutely fantastic, and yeah, it's been a big pleasure to have you as a guest on our 60-something episode.
68.
Jesus,
68, yeah.
68.
Already forgot.
Well, I'm glad. Thank you so much, you guys. It's amazing to be here, and it was easy to conversate with you all as well. So you're doing an amazing job, by the way. So thanks for bringing a lot of people on board and, sharing this story. It's amazing.
Cool. And I say I've subscribed to your podcast as well and following the International Women in Tech group on LinkedIn. So I put all them kind of links straight in the show notes. Others who are listening can do the exactly the same.
Thank you. But before that, I really want to hear you saying my name.
Oh, no, that's it. Well, I'm signing off now, right? So thank you for joining us today.
Come on, you can do it.
What was our
Let's
host?
try.
What was our guest name?
Jeevantika.
See, there you
that's
go.
all right.
That's
Well done.
really right. Perfect.
Jeevantika Lingalwar.
Well, that was not right, but it's okay.
Oh, that's it, right. That's it. I got 50% right, and I did exactly the same.
You missed
Well,
you
you're
missed
there.
the middle. You missed the middle part of her name. Like you went Lingalwar.
Yeah.
Lingalwar.
That literally
Anyway.
missed the syllable. Like
Well, you were good.
I blame being like a little bit dyslexic. That's what I was
oh
saying.
yeah, sure.
No, well, you were great. I love the way you pronounce the first name. It's good. You got it
So
right.
yeah, thank you, Jay, for joining us today, and everyone else.
Well, it's a pleasure. Thank you both for having me on this.
No
Thank
problem.
you.
Cheers for being
All
a
right.
guest.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the Microsoft Spotlight podcast. Please make sure you hit that like, share, and subscribe button to help us promote our message. You can also follow us on Twitter at MSFT Spotlight, and we're also on LinkedIn, the Microsoft Spotlight podcast. And finally, we'd like to tell you a little bit about BitTitan and thank them for sponsoring this podcast.
Remote migrations start here. Let Migration Wiz do the work for you. It's fast, secure, and 100% SaaS, which means you can migrate at any time and from anywhere. Migrate mailboxes, documents, public folders, personal archives, or even Microsoft Teams with just a few clicks. No special training needed and no customer downtime. When the work matters, choose Migration Wiz.